Doomsday 3.
We're in Doomsday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of the most of his country.
You got people on the defense talking about it. You better get your ass to the ball. You better get to the ball.
I just got to say, former Dallas Cowboys well
Had to
For sure, they would have thrown it off because
said that I go to bed every night like, hey, man, I promise you that. What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag. I made it back. Those of you guys who follow me on the X or Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it or any of that, you guys know I was high rolling, hanging with the big boys, having a good time. So I made it back home safely. So appreciate all the love and definitely support on the channel. Glad to see my partner in crime on Monday Night, Jimmy Dee, is back from a little getaway. But how you doing today, Jimmy?
I'm doing good, man. I was living vicariously through you all weekend, watching you hobnobbing with all the big shots down at the Hard Rock and hanging out with the whales. What's up with that? I got to hear about that. I only saw it
literally whales. Literally whales, but that'll be for another thing. But before we get rolling, make sure if you guys are new, hit that like, subscribe, share. I will give a little PSA. Thursday we do have Sherman Williams, former Cowboy, coming in. He wrote a book, Crimson Cowboy. It's like a 3-part book. I know the first 2 were done on his life and journey through sports, NFL. He hit some hard times. I mean, he makes no bones about it. He served 15 years in prison for some mistakes that he made, but he paid his debt, came out, and he's making a negative into a positive. Working with kids and youth and trying to make sure they don't go down the same path, mistakes he made. So he's going to be coming in the cave, talk about his foundation, but we're going to talk about the Cowboys a little bit. So want to get that. But Jimmy, I don't know. I know you had a lot of obviously things going on, but I don't know if you caught the show Monday. Monday was a little, or last Thursday, excuse me. Last Thursday was a little wild. We had our first Cowboy in the cave, former Cowboy Crawford Kerr in the cave. Have you been able to catch any of that show?
I saw some shorts of it, and that was funny. That was funnier than hell, man. I got to sit and watch the whole thing.
You got to watch it, but the part, I mean, you get Kevin Gogan, Big Nasty, calling in. Yeah, he hears us talking about it. He wants to make sure he validates the stories, and it was, the part with Kevin Gogan, the mindset, right? The mindset of the player. Getting a couple holding penalties, he goes to it, say, hey, I'm going to knock that ref out on the next play. I thought he was watching Wildcats. I thought it was Trullo going after coach, knocking her out during the play. But it was great. But then the drug test scenario. Now, I'll say this. I didn't jump into it. I had a similar situation where I played the part of Kevin Gogan, and a friend of ours was going for a job and he was going to get drug tested. So he had me, urinate in a cup, and he kept it in his pocket, and he was going to go bring it, go change it out. And it didn't work so well for us. And then he came out with piss all over his pants, my piss all over his pants. But, doing that in the NFL, that's what I just tell people, man. I just love interviewing and talking with former players because it was just a different era, but they kind of just tell you how it is. Or sometimes when a player's in the league, right, they got to be a little guarded. They got an image, they got to, all that. But it is refreshing when you hear some of these guys just telling it, telling the stories the way they were in their playing days.
Especially unfiltered. You know what I mean? And like you said, first of all, they got an image to uphold. And secondly, they're going to get their ass in trouble. They start admitting that on, out in public, right? Yeah. So, man,
but he confirmed a lot of stuff. But anyway, if you guys missed that, go back and definitely check it out. I even made a couple clips. Just if you want to hear the drug test, when I made a small clip that you can find on our YouTube channel. It's just funny. A funny story. It is a funny story. So, but it was cool. So we're having a good time. But what have you been up to? And then we'll get into some weekend stuff, get into some sports. It's kind of a light day before the draft next week. We got a lot of draft stuff coming up next week. So we're kind of just going to cut it up loose. If you guys in the chat have anything to add or anything you want us to talk about, hit us up in the chat. And we got the WNBA draft. I know a lot of people are pumped about that. I'm sure the TVs are going. You got, all the stuff that you got, trying to figure out who's going to be the first pick. But anyway,
what do you bring up that minor league basketball for? Now, everybody last week, I was wrapping stuff up last week. You guys know what's been going on in my life. And I think hopefully we've exhaled and we'll be good to go and we'll have some good times moving forward. But so like you said, we got that minor league draft tonight. I see Ultra.
Ultra's gay, he's giving you some kudos for your teams or what?
You know what? And it's funny because Ultra and I think the same way, right? I saw him ripping on Glaber Torrey, which is fine. I don't disagree with that. But, between adding Verdugo and Soto, man, they're bringing hype to the team. And he's right. We're winning and we're playing great right now. I mean, it's early. Remember, baseball has 162 games, but I'm happy with the start, especially with injuries and the pitching department. We got injury. But we're winning despite Aaron Boone because he still makes stupid ass calls, and despite Steinbrenner did sign.
How do they tolerate that though? At some point, I mean, is it just why does Steinbrenner just tolerate that if he's continuing to be a problem for the team and not getting them to live up to their potential? I mean,
because he's not far behind. He's not a lot of Yankees fans like him either. I mean, at least we had a productive offseason this year, but I'm not going to cut him any slack. I mean, we've had some stupid signings in the past, and he won't do anything with Boone. It's crazy, man. I don't know what Boone's got on him or what's been going on behind the scenes. That's right.
Got some pictures, got some evidence, valuable evidence. So
wait a minute, Ultra, you're right, Ultra. Okay. You're right. You know why? Because for the first time, and I know, Mike Tag always brings up, in this year this happened and that year that happened. The last time that both the New York Rangers and the New York Knicks won 50 games each was in 1994, and both teams made the respective finals. Unfortunately, the Knicks lost to the Rockets in 7 and 6, and the Rangers took home the Stanley Cup. So I'm hoping for a repeat performance and a party.
Was Gretzky on that team or no?
No, Gretzky joined 2 seasons later.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Messier, Adam Graves. That was
okay.
That was.
Did they win with Gretzky or no?
No, what's that?
Did they win a cup with Gretzky?
No, they made the playoffs, but they made the playoffs 2 to 3 seasons he played, and then he retired. I mean, he's still
on the second line when he played with the Rangers.
The great one.
There's an inside joke to that.
Yes, exactly.
But, hey, looking at the NFL, I wanted to just ask a couple things in common, get you guys' opinion. So this we have in common is Deion. Deion played for the Cowboys, played for the Falcons. He came out, both his sons, I think, are coming out next year, right? And then you got Travis Hunter, who's going to be a big, big prospect as well. So Deion's come out and he's, he said his kids are only going to play for 6 teams. And all of them he played for except the Eagles. So it's Cowboys, Falcons, Washington, Niners, Rams, and Eagles. I mean, what do you think of that? And you can knock them, but I think, you look back with Eli Manning and they kind of forced the hand of the Chargers and had, found their way to the Giants. Do you see just sports becoming now college kids are getting paid more than they would in the NFL, the top one? So some of them, it's like, why go to the NFL? I'll just stay in college another year. It's easier. I'll make more money, not a lot of pressure and all that stuff. And now you've got the coaches and former players of their kids and stuff, possibly trying to dictate where their kids play. I mean, where do you see this going? Is this a problem that's not going away?
No, it's not going away. And you know what? First of all, I think that behind the scenes, most parents, I don't care if they're Deion Sanders or some schmuck up the street who have kids in that position, I think they're steering their kids, turning they're turning the kid's head one way or another. So I think that happens anyway. But now, like you said, you got Prime Time, who's got some clout, and he's going to say it out in public. He doesn't care, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the no name parent, if you will, who is behind the scenes trying to make things happen.
But he's naming the teams that he played for, except for the Eagles. I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, Washington. Would you consider Washington like this great franchise that you love your kid? Is it
No.
more? Is it becoming more about him or more about the best situations for your kids? Because I mean, if I'm calling it down the middle, I don't know if the Cowboys would be the best situation for a young kid. The spotlight that they're on, the pressure that goes with it.
Yeah.
There's a plus side to it, but there's a negative side to it too. But I just don't know. You're throwing out these team names. Falcons, I could see, right? He started there, whatever.
Yeah.
But is it becoming about him or about what's best for the kids in the situation? Because to me, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs seem like not a bad spot if you end up landing there. No?
Well, first of all, to your point, I mean, if I'm a college kid nowadays, I'm collecting in college, right? I'm collecting as long as I can to the end of my senior year because you don't know what's going to happen in the pros. But to your point, yeah, I mean, it is. It's more about Dion at that point, and I love prime time, right? And we both do. We're all about the trash talk and the old school. But at the end of the day, right? He's worried about his kid playing for his legacy teams or his favorite. And that's not, I wouldn't stick him. If anything, I'd have him on the Falcons because less pressure. We do have a younger team right now, except for our quarterback. But Washington. What?
I mean, and then you got Washington. Let's say it is his kid. They're drafting Caleb Williams. So you really want your kid to go there after they just drafted, a quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it's just headlines. So that just kind of threw me for a loop. And then you're talking about the OTAs, right, for the Cowboys are starting. CeeDee is not there.
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
He's not under a contract, and it's voluntary. Well, he's under contract, but he wants a new deal. It's voluntary, so I don't think it's. I'll give you both sides of it. I don't think it's a big deal, but I just don't know, like for a team, like I said, this whole offseason, everything's been about trying to get that bad taste out of your mouth and try to get things going. And you're a leader of the team. And I don't know if Parsons is there. I saw something where Parsons was there. I don't want to say if he was there or not, because I don't know. I didn't get a chance to read up on it. But I mean, leaders of the team, it's almost like what James Washington talked about with Gogan, what a lot of these former players talk about is this is the time where you build the bond with your teammates. This is the time where you kind of get things going, right? And It's just, is it a big deal? Probably not. But it's just the aesthetics of it is, hey, man, we're trying to get this thing rolling. We need everyone kind of going the same direction. But they could look at the management and they could look at Jerry Jones. They could look at the front office and say, hey, man, I just saw Devontae Smith get his extension for 75. I'm waiting to get paid. You're not giving me no money. I mean, I'm all in, but I don't think you're all in. We didn't sign a lot in free agency. Just kind of let things kind of play itself out. And again, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to panic like some of these guys. I'm just going to kind of let it fall before I go too crazy. But I've shared my opinion of how I feel about it. But I mean, what do you think from just a non-Cowboy fan?
I look at it's aesthetics, but in the same token, I'd be concerned because you got Dak's contract coming up. I think he's trying to send a message. In my opinion, I don't think he's going anywhere. But this is not. Like you said, this is the time. The old guy. They said this is when you bond. You should be there, right? I know you're looking to get your extension and all that. And hey, look, it's all about money. At the end of the day, it's all about the money, right? Yeah. Teams, players, that's what it's about. We as fans, we want championships.
Yeah.
Bottom line. But I don't blame them. But it is aesthetically, it's not a good look for if you're a fan or if you're a teammate. Especially some of the younger guys.
They're not doing nothing. I mean, they're stretching, they're running. I mean, and it's not like this isn't no full-fledged, like they're going at it practice. So, I mean, I get it. It's like I said, it's probably much to do about nothing, but it's like what we talk about. When you're the Cowboys, every little thing is going to be talked about. It comes with the price of the star and the helmet, and it's just the way it is. It's just like the podcast, right? Everyone talks about Micah Parsons' podcast, but everyone has podcasts. There's guys in the Cowboys that got podcasts. There's all this, but they're always going to bring up, well, Michael Parsons got it because he's with Barstool Sports or whatever else. It's just one of those, it's just that's the price you pay.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be T. Higgins coming out on social media and said he probably ain't going to be with the Bengals next season. I mean, come on. I'd be worried about.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen. And I get, re-signing Jefferson, Justin Jefferson's, he's going to be getting a deal, CeeDee. But the thing you got to give the Eagles, I mean, we can all hate them. We can, we don't like the Eagles, but they get shit done. I got to give them credit for that. Now, I don't know if it's right shit, but they get shit done. I mean, they sign their guys, they move on from the guy, whatever they got to do, they get things done. And somehow, with Jalen Hurts signing that big deal, they still seem to address some needs. They ended up getting Barkley, whether that turns to be a bust or not. I mean, that remains to be seen. They get a young Devontae Smith and a contract that's, hey, it's not a bad deal for
reasonable.
He's their number 2, could be a number 1 if AJ, ever leave, whatever. But you're locking up a young guy, 3 more extra years, whatever. They get deals done. So, and there's not a lot of drama there. You don't see a lot in the media. You don't see, you're seeing things get leaked that, they're not happy with Micah Parsons or this or that. And I don't know if that's the Cowboys or just media people just trying to get some traction on stuff. You know what I mean? It's just so hard to figure out, but it's unnecessary distraction, man.
Well, what they do is they put headlines up there for you to click on it, like everybody does. Right.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of like the Yankees. It's the same thing. But I we're in the spotlight. Everything's going to blow up when things go wrong or if things don't look good. And for the Yankees, it's been a while since it's looked good. Right. But if you look at the Eagles, you're right. And as much as we hate them, it's usually at least what they think good things happening. Right.
Yeah.
They're signing people. They're trying to make moves. And again, whether they're the right moves or not, we don't know. And their fan base, they're animals. I mean, these people are crazy. Right? Crazy. So, but that's the thing with them, right?
Yeah.
They're doing what they got to do, and you don't see the fans out there screaming and yelling.
No. And Ultra, I get, positioning themselves. They've been positioning themselves all the time. I mean, let's just be honest with it. They had Dak on a rookie deal. They positioned themselves. They had CeeDee and Parsons on a rookie deal, and Diggs. We're positioning ourselves. I'm sick of positioning myself for the future. The future's now. Your boy ain't getting any younger. I need I need this team to show me a little love. I want to feel good now. Again, I'm going to wait. They could have a killer draft. And I still think there's free agents that they can get to just, like I said, this team is good. I mean, don't get me wrong. This team is good, very good. They're not going to be not a playoff team. They're not going to win 5 games next year unless they have some catastrophic injuries. They're going to be in contention, and maybe they need more of a blue collar team. I don't have any issues with, like I said, I didn't have any issues with all the guys leaving. I just would have liked to seen a couple guys,
especially a running back, That's
just even if it's an insurance running back, which they could have got for pennies on a dollar. Jim.
That's right. And you know what? Like Mike Tag said, he's just some old man. He ain't got time to wait around for a championship. He wanted to go back to Big D, to AT&T. He ain't got time to waste. What are you doing, Joneses?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm down in the Hard Rock. You saw it. I'm down in the Hard Rock, hanging with the big boys. I got a VIP invite. You understand what that I just said, Jim? VIP invite to Derek Jeter's Turn 2 Foundation, hanging with Johnny Damon, hanging with Ja Rule, listening to Fat Joe. Fat Joe lost a little weight. I don't know if he's Fat Joe anymore or what. But, hey, listen to some good music. You had Kid Capri on the turntables. I mean, it was a great event. And I'm telling you that lavish hors d'oeuvres. That's the way they described it. Lavish hors d'oeuvres. They had everything that you can ask for. So it was a lot of fun, man. It was a great night down at the Hard Rock in Miami for sure.
Hey, so it was like Frankie Pantangeli on The Godfather 2. Hey, the guy comes out and says, "Can of peas my ass. Bring out the peppers and sausage."
The best is I should have done some cuts of some videos because I recorded some videos. They had the girls dance. I mean, it was great. And so we walk in and our buddy, we walk over to grab a nice table near. I mean, the concert, I got to tell people there was only maybe 300 people there, 250 maybe. It wasn't like this thing was just jam packed. It was an exclusive event. And so we want to get a table. Basically, the stage was right on the other side of the pool. So you're talking 100 feet, if that. I mean, you were just right there. And so we go get the table, get ready to get some drinks. We go there. Our one buddy, he's already chowing down. You know, he was the first in line of everything, and he's coming back. Hey, man, they got the salmon over here. He's giving us the breakdown, like John Madden, you know, talking with the, you know, teleprompter, telling us where all the food is at, all the hot spots where this is at that. I was like, oh man. I said, I mean, you look the part, but now I'm.
Well, see, now here's what I envision. So I got to set the tone here a little bit. So Mike Tag and I, we had a friend back in the day who knew how to, who knew how to make moves, let's say. So we went to the Chinese buffet, right? It had a takeout, right? So in this Chinese buffet takeout, they gave you this styrofoam thing. You put your food in, you close it up. Well, he had smarts. He goes up and he loads both sides of the styrofoam tray like that. He ain't closing it. So he rolls up to the front and they're carrying, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. You got to be able to close it. And he ain't closing it and he ain't bringing the food back. So long story short, he leaves with 2 things of food, pays one. It was like buy one, get one free, right? So we go back the next time a week later and there's a big sign, must be able to close container, right? So now what are you talking about our other friend who I've met in the past before? I can imagine he probably had 2 plates or like a waitress, probably carrying everything back on the plate to the table. Hey, look what I got. So
he had everything going. And the best was at the end of the night, I don't know how he found it, but he found to-go boxes.
Oh my God.
A couple midnight snacks. You don't want any of the food going bad. So then the next thing, he's throwing a few in there and, getting going. And then we go to the, we get into the casino. And I'll say this, we got there Friday. I don't, for some reason, when I do the roulette, I mainly play roulette. I don't do well at night, but in the morning I do, it's quieter maybe or whatever, get that. But so later that night, well, let me backtrack. So Ja Rule goes and, he does his set. He's up there like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or whatever. And then he comes back and sure enough, man, he ends up hanging right next to us, sitting right at our table, just talking. And we ended up getting pictures with him. And he had a couple guys over. Just this cool dude. I thought he was he was that generation after. Yeah. I thought he was a big dude. Like just his voice, he had that deep voice. Yeah. He's like 5'8", and so he was hanging with us, took some pictures. Very nice guy, man. Then he was just out afterwards. He was behind like where people were sitting, like kind of off to the side, just eating. But like Fat Joe did his thing, he was gone. Derek Jeter, very slick. He's been doing this a long time. He wasn't taking no pictures with nobody. He wasn't talking. He did he had his family and whatever, and he bolted. But Johnny Damon, he just sat and we talked to him for a few minutes. I broke the ice with him. I said, hey man, my wife, she don't know nothing about you playing baseball, but she loved you on Below Deck. And then he just started laughing. He's like, man, I had more fun on there than I did playing baseball. And he went to Dr. Phillips in Orlando. So I was just talking to him about Orlando, and we played at a wrestling tournament up in Dr. Phillips. So we just, just shooting the breeze. And Tino was really nice. Everyone was very nice, man. Like I said, it wasn't like a mob of people. It was very, very low key, very low key.
Johnny Damon, a great New York Yankee. Let's start out by saying that. And you remember back in the day, so when I brought the cassette tape down from New York, Fat Joe, and you guys, what the heck? This is before he was big time. And
he's big time, but he's skinny now. I mean, he's skinny Joe. Well, average Joe. Someone said in one of my comments that maybe he's average Joe now. He's not Fat Joe, but
gotta watch his cholesterol.
Yeah, well, but I mean that's happened. It's just like like Kid Rock. It's like he's a grandfather. He's 50-something years old. It's like, man, you gotta go out there as Kid Rock. I mean, So, but you get stuck with that name, and I think he made a joke about it. He said, man, if I'd have known I'd still be doing this shit, man, I don't think I would have made Kid Rock. Just doesn't sound too good now. When you're 50-something years old.
when you're over the hill.
Yeah. Big Pun was good. I like Big Pun. Big Pun was good. Fat Joe's good. I mean, they were all
Fat Joe, man.
Fat Joe's.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I lost you for a second. Sorry. Fat Joe, man. I love Fat, especially back in the day. His old school stuff, man. I used to love that. Yeah. That was the best. But no, it looks like you guys had a great time. And it's nice, like you said, when people are out mingling and obviously it's for a good cause, but you guys are there having a good time and everybody's out mingling. It sucks Jeter took off though.
Yeah, no, but he was close by. It wasn't like he ignored. He was there enjoying the music and stuff like that. He just wasn't. he kept, he had a security around. He wasn't gonna, he wasn't mixing them with the common folk. You know what I'm saying? But it was a great charity, great cause. It was really cool. It was, first class all the way. And then we went gambling afterwards. And they decided to go to the heavy hitter table. They're heavy hitters I'm with. I said, I'm going to lay back. I said, you guys go do that. And 5 minutes later, we're out of the heavy hitter table because they're broke. And then we went to the regular tables and lost a little bit more there. So I was down a decent bit. And then my son's like, hey, man, the fight, take, forgot the guy's name, but take whoever won the main event. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I got to get some money back. I'm going to put $100 on that. Well, he ended up knocking the guy out. So I got $100 back. And so I was down pretty good. And in the morning, that Sunday morning, man, I just, I play methodically. I'm not as heavy as a whale. But I hit some and ended up winning 300, and then my wife ended up winning an extra like 300. So we almost broke even, but we stayed there for free. You had the free night of drinks and stuff. So way ahead of the game. But the whale, I got a lesson in how to get shit done. He was playing 24 and he had 5 chips on it. He had chips all around it. Like he built like a castle. And that sumbitch hit 3 times while I was there. I mean, he was just, I mean, it's all luck, right, with the numbers, but I mean, they were hitting for him. He was hot and he kept it going, and it was a lot of fun, man. You got to definitely check it out. The Knowles and Canes are playing down there, so might have to do a road trip if we can get some hotels, spot there. We definitely have to hit.
Oh, say that isn't far from the stadium. That would be perfect.
Oh, it's right there. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it right there. So
it's funny when you talk about gambling. I don't go to the tables. It's just not my thing. I'll sit in the sports book though and bet games, mostly horses, but I'll bet games all day, all night long, right? Especially when they're bringing the free drinks. You give them the $1 tip.
They don't get free drinks there, but go ahead.
Nobody, out in Vegas or whatever. Yeah. But you see, man, I don't know. I thought the tables are intimidating, or you can easily lose money quick. I don't know. To me, sitting in the sports book, it's all about the experience and hanging out. Like I said, throwing a few back and watching some of the really degenerate gamblers get broke. I mean, and they're getting all pissed off. It's kind of funny.
Well, I see people just throw thousands on there. Now, I agree with like the table games, blackjack. I don't play. I played it once when I was by myself there because I do get intimidated by the people because then they yell at you like, "Hey, you're not supposed to hit there." And I'm like, "What the hell do I do? It's my card, not your card. My card. I'm going to play my card. You worry about your card." But then they think you screwed up the whole deck and stuff. So then it becomes a lot of pressure. Roulette, I like because you're playing numbers. Anyone can play the same numbers. Like I play 8, 22, and 33. So if someone else wants to play 22, slap it on there. It doesn't affect my game at all, right? Yeah. So then I play like the thirds and 2/3. There's a little strategy you can do. And if you do it methodically, you can play for a while. And if things fall your way, you can hit. But the thing I learned in roulette, watching the whale and watching some of these other guys, if you're not playing heavy on numbers that hit, you're never going to make the big money. Now you can hang and break even. And like for me, if I could break even after a weekend, it's a win for me. I'm having fun. Yeah. It's a win.
So. I'll tell you. So this is a good one. I don't even think I've told you this one. It's maybe 10 or 11 years ago. We were down in South Florida and with a family member of mine, my nephew-in-law, he plays the card game. This is the one and only time I went to one of the tables, right? Texas Hold'em. Whatever. I forgot we were even playing. I might have had a few drinks with me that night. But anyway, so we get there and he says, look, because I was sitting on one end of the table. He was on the other. And we walk in. And like I said, I'm a little inebriated. He's very inebriated. So he says, look, if I go like this, then he starts giving me signs, right? Okay. Now 2 drunk guys, and we're trying to figure out the third base signs here. So, all of a sudden, if you go like this, and I'm like, then he's like, it's exaggerated, right? And some old lady in the middle, hey, they're cheating. They're crossboarding. They're cheating, right? Then all hell, the pit boss comes in, all hell, they kicked us out. But the best was the old lady carrying on that we're cheating. If you would have seen his face, you couldn't miss it, right? Yeah. I was shit-faced and I didn't miss it. Right? I remember like it was yesterday. You're out of here.
Well, they don't mess around. Like So the Sunday, I had a little money left. I'm like, my brother's like, man, he's like, yeah, just keep playing. I was like, I don't know. He's like, hey, here, man, here's, and he was going to give me 2 chips. I guess you can't even do that at the table. I didn't know that. Like, I can't give you money at a table. And I was like,
stupid.
Well,
it's stupid, but
yeah, I don't know the rhyme or reason of it, but so I had to slide it under. And then Ja Rule just came walking by us in that morning by himself with his backpack, said, what's up? And then he went he was cashing out some chips. Either he won or, he was getting whatever cash he had left after what he lost. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun, man. I'm not a big gambler, but when we go down there, it's just more of the entertainment. I'm not a Vegas person. I'm not into I hate the crowds of Vegas and walking all over the place and doing all that stuff at Vegas. So it gives you a little bit of a good time. It gives you a good time. The crowd's great. Oh, here's the best. I'll give you one more quick story. Then
this is great.
Stuff. But so we're walking to the Jeter thing, and we're sitting there, and I'll try and do it. This lady is walking, and she's got like a shirt. Those the straps go like that and just cover the fabric, just covers your boobs. On a woman.
Those are very, very nice, classy shirts.
Yeah, so you got to be. I mean, you got to be either perked up or you got some you got some bolt-ons. I mean, there's something going on there where they're staying really good. Well, we're walking, and my wife's with me, and we're walking, and all of a sudden I look, I said, man, her titty's out. And then my buddy's like, it is out. And then she's walking, she's just walking, and all of a sudden, her friend goes, you see her point to her and starts laughing, and then we're all laughing, and then we made it was a joke about it, but it's like, how do you not know? How do you not know?
You should have said, knockers bouncing all over the joint. Her ass was wiggling too.
Oh man!
Wait a minute. Hey, I saw that. Wait a minute. It was about the Ohtani. Yeah, they're still blaming the interpreter for ripping
crazy. I mean, how's that? You gonna tell me that dude has no knowledge of $4 or $5 million getting transferred out of his account to his interpreter with no knowledge?
It's Pete Rose 2.0. They just don't want to admit it because they don't want that on their hands again. Everybody knows it. Right. And you got to be stupid not to figure it out. And the FBI is saying, oh, well, we're exonerating Ohtani and it was his interpreter, blah, blah, blah. That's a bunch of crap and everybody knows it. I don't want to hear it. All these guys are gambling one way or another.
Oh, absolutely. And I saw Ultra's odds. And that's what I've told people. The Cowboys are still the favorite. After all this BS that they're going, that's why I put that video out. I was just messing around at the pool and just having fun with it. But that's why I said, man, I'm not going to sit here and panic. I'm not panicking. Am I happy about the way things are going? No, but I'm going to give benefit to the doubt. I want to see what this draft looks like. They're going to put pressure on young guys, so they got to hit home runs or at least triples. You're getting Overshown back. So, I mean, hopefully that's going to impact their linebackers. I like Cooper out of A&M. If they were to grab him in the second round, I would be pumped up. But, a lot of people are talking about Brooks, the running back. I'm not crazy about Brooks because he's got an injury. He's coming off an injury. I gotta hate these guys with injuries. I don't want these injuries.
I know.
So I like Trey Benson if they grabbed him in the third round. So if you ended up with 3 starters, 3 guys who could, not necessarily even starter, but impact guys in the first 3 rounds, I'm feeling pretty damn good. I'm feeling better because it's a young man's game. I don't mind some youth. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what, Mikey, I appreciate the shout out. We're going to talk in a little bit, and I don't know if Joel Embiid's going to take care of his business against the Heat or what's going to happen there. You need to tell me about this because it might be a second, after the play-in, I guess a second round matchup you call it with the Heat and the Knicks again. We'll see how that plays out. But with the Falcons, as far as I'm concerned, you're talking about the draft. I mean, we're pretty solid everywhere. If it's me, and you've always said it, draft the best available athlete. I'm looking for a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You got Cousins who can groom him, take some time, take a few years, groom the guy. And after that, all defense. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't know much about college football. I know JJ, I know that name, of course.
Yeah.
But, beyond that, I don't know much of anybody else. Quarterback and then all defense after that.
And I think what they're going to do is they're going to I don't even think the Falcons are going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to go best available player, and they've set themselves up that way. Dallas hasn't really set themselves up that way. They can go best, but I think they got to fill needs. I would not be upset at all if they grabbed a wide receiver at 21, 24. I'm one of the few that I believe our offensive line is better than people think. I don't think you need to have. I mean, we had 3 All-Pros on our line last year, and then people are still bitching about the offensive line. I think our offensive line is going to be solid. I think it's going to be really solid. But if you can get a guy, I'm not going to be opposed if they draft a lineman in the first round at all. But Dallas's track record of offensive linemen in the first round is damn near 100%. And I'm trying to think back to when they fouled one of them up, and I can't even think back that far when it was. I'm sure someone will remind me of it. But so I wouldn't have an issue with that. I wouldn't have an issue if they went receiver. You got to put up points. I mean, the NFL is geared up. You see the rule change. You see everything is geared for offense. So I don't have an issue if they go out and get a first round pick at receiver. I got no problem with it. I got zero problem with it. So it's going to be interesting. But I think they need what I need to see are 3 starters. I don't give a shit what the position is, but I need to see 3 starters, whether it be linebacker, receiver, running back, or lineman, linebacker, running back, whatever it is. I need to see some starters. So
now, let's look at the bigger picture with the NFL for a second. Brandon Ayuk, he's going to the Steelers, he's going to the Chiefs, he's going to the Bills, he's going here and there. Now I got a question, and I'm asking you, Mike Tag, and everybody else in the cave. Is he good because he's really that good, or is it because he's surrounded by a lot of talent that he can hide in between?
Well, let me just say Dan Sileo. I don't believe a whole lot Dan Sileo says. We could talk about that later. I think he's good, but I don't think he's not, in my opinion, my son will argue because we drafted him in our fantasy league when he was at the Jaguars, and it was disappointing. I think he benefits. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey there. That is a huge help to your receivers. I mean, you also got Debo, who's, a solid receiver. I don't know if they have a true one, like what you'd call a one, on the Niners. But when you have that kind of running game, that kind of, Kittle's still effective. He's not what he was, but he's still effective.
He's damn good. Yeah.
I don't think he deserves CeeDee money. I don't think he deserves Justin Jefferson money. I think he's somewhere, in that, Devontae Smith, 24, his extension, but let's just say 25 to 27. I think CeeDee's going to get 33 plus. So he's probably in that 27 range, somewhere in there. That's just my opinion. But sometimes when you sign these guys, it's about the timing of the signing rather than the money. It's always the next contract for that position is always the highest. That's why, people say all they want about Dak and, you made him a highest paid player when they signed his deal. But in like 3 weeks, it was someone else. In 3 months, it was another 2 other people. And now a few years later, he's like mid-tier. So he's exactly probably where you think he'd be. And he's going to end up, signing another deal.
So I look at and if there's a landing spot for him that makes sense, it's Buffalo. And they lost Diggs, which, remember, I called that for months. Everybody laughed at me, and I said it was exactly. That's right. And they lost Gabe Davis. So they're really hurting the receiver. That's, in my opinion, the landing spot. But what about Cortland Sutton? He's another one who might be gone. He wants out of Denver, right?
Would you want to be in Denver right now?
No, I wouldn't want to be in Denver 5 years ago.
Fast enough right now.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be a rough couple years, but maybe Peyton, if they it's all about a quarterback, right? If they somehow can get a quarterback, in the draft, it can change. I mean, it can change things. Quarterback's it's a big deal in the NFL, man. You got to have, that's why I know people want to get rid of Dak, but you better have some options. And if you're going to tell me, Shedeur Sanders is the option, I don't know yet, man. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I wasn't that impressed with him against top talent that he was, and he wasn't even playing the top teams in the Pac-12. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm not sold on him yet.
And let me ask you, hey, now Dallas Turner again. I don't know anything about college football, so you guys got to enlighten me.
I thought you were going to go I thought you guys is he a DN? Help me out. Help me out here. Have
Yeah,
Ultra help us out.
Ultra, need a little help here, man.
Because I thought you guys would go all defense edge.
Yes.
Is he an edge rusher?
Is he? That's what I want to know, because we do need edge. Our guys on the edge are getting older. Grady Jarrett got hurt last year. He missed half the season. Calais Campbell, so what is that? He is defense. Okay. So there you go. That's what we need to draft.
But he's an edge.
That's yeah. I think yep.
Yeah. He's the Alabama guy. Yeah, if he's there, he's good. I saw Verse, the end guy there. If I don't know if the dude from UCLA or the dude from Texas, I know he's there. But I see you guys getting edge rushers. I think if that's my first pick. If I'm you guys, I think Cousins is a good. I wouldn't draft a young quarterback now. I think you guys got to be in the mind of win now. So if win now, I need to win now, and I need the best players that can impact now. I don't need no guys sitting on the bench. That's why if you get an edge rusher, whichever one it is, Dallas, Turner. I don't really care for. I don't follow Alabama, so I don't know all the players, but I know the kid from Florida State because of the ACC. Things like that. But that's what you guys need.
Here's what I look at. Yes, we need to, because like I said, we have an aging, especially on the front line. We got an aging defense, right? But that being said, look at Jordan Love, CJ Stroud. That's lightning in a bottle. That's an anomaly, right? Yeah. A lot of these quarterbacks, that ain't happening. I want a Jordan Love type, and you're under the tutelage of a damn good quarterback in front of you. I'd love to take a really good quarterback, let him hold the clipboard behind Kirk Cousins, learn for a few years, because our offense is young. Right. And we have Cousins, so we're going to win now. So, like I said, if there's out of 7 draft picks, we get one quarterback. I'm okay with that.
That's what I mean. You could go get, like, if a Penix were to fall, or even I know, and God, this pains me, I say this, but like even like a Jordan Travis, someone that you can maybe, develop. So a guy that is not a lot of pressure. I know some people are so on Spencer Rattler. He's kind of hot and cold with some people, but a project guy, someone that can come in, you get him in maybe a mid-round that you can sit behind Cousins for a couple years. And then
that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in a spot where we had Matty Ice. We ended up in cap hell. He was gone. Then we had Mariota, Ritter, just a bunch of nonsense for a couple of years, and I don't want to be in that spot again.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I'm at.
It's I tell you, and talking about quarterbacks, this quarterback class is going to be very interesting because you can get as high as 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. So, I mean, you look at some of the great quarterback classes, the 2 that always, kind of stick out, obviously 83 with Elway, Jim Kelly, and Marino. And also you got 2004, Phillip Rivers, Eli, and Big Ben. But you're looking at, Caleb Williams is more than likely, he's going to be the one. You got Drake May, you got Jaden Daniels. I mean, and Caleb Williams going to the Bears. They're talking about May or Daniels going to Washington. I got that flipped up in the beginning. I apologize. And you got McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Penix. They can all be first-round draft picks. Or, a guy like Penix could slip out of the first, maybe. Bo Nix could slip. McCarthy seems to be going up on the boards, but everyone I've talked to, that has any quarterback background, they're not high on him. I wasn't that impressed with him, but he's put up big numbers in the combine and his workouts and things like that. And it gives me shades of some other quarterbacks and really other players. I think of Mike Mamula being the player that was a combine warrior and came out of nowhere and got drafted ahead of Warren Sapp and got drafted ahead of a lot of guys. And thankfully he went to the Eagles. He was one of the biggest busts. So it worked out. So I'm going on the tape that I see or the games that I watch, but I am no scout. I'll just be the first to tell you. I thought Ryan Leaf was going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah.
He had tools. I mean, you thought he was going to be pretty good, but you can't. The thing with quarterbacks, and Jimmy, I want your take on it, is it's a system that they're in, the environment, the intangibles. Everyone I talk to, it's all about the intangibles that are around you. I mean, there's a reason why Tom Brady dropped to the 6th round. It wasn't like he was some all-world talent. He had the talent, but that's how the gap is so narrow. But the intangibles that Brady had, of the will to win, compete, everything that it takes, but then going into a system with a young Bill Belichick, at New England, and being there, obviously you had Bledsoe there, you had some stuff going on, and they were a young up and coming team that was, they were good, but they were getting even better. That's the thing. That's why you see the Bears struggle with their quarterback, because they get in shitty situations. No quarterback survives in Chicago.
And you look at, Tom Brady, first of all, he ended up stepping in because Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Let's not forget about that. And then it was, uphill from there for him. But like you said, it was the intangible. That guy does not want to lose.
Yeah.
And to your point about systems, we talked about this a year ago sitting here. And I says to you, you got to get rid of Kellen Moore, and you mold the system around Dak Prescott and his strengths. And look at his numbers last year were spectacular, right? Obviously, the playoffs didn't go the way you want them to, but you built it around him, and that's what you do, right? And that's where a lot of these quarterbacks flourish. But then the intangibles, Brady.
That's what it's going to be about. Now, Ultra's a big McCarthy fan. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be that good. It's in the NFL today. I think you've got, you got to be at least a dual threat. You can't be one. Now, he could chuck the ball pretty far and whatever, but I haven't seen him pass with consistency of something that would make me go, wow. And I just hadn't seen it. So and again, I'm just a fan. So I know as much about as my postman, right? So that, that's where it goes there. I'm just saying I'm not a huge fan of Caleb Williams. I'm not, I like Bo Nix. I mean, I liked him, but I don't know. None of these quarterbacks, are making me do backflips. I mean, and there's going to be 6 of them that could be taken in the first round. So there's going to be some that are successful. The thing I will say is I was right about CJ. I said he was going to be the best quarterback in the draft last year. And I think a lot of it was he went into a great spot. I mean, D'Amico Ryans, young, great, not great, but really good up and coming head coach. They got, Tank Dell was a really good draft pick, got some defense there, got some support system for him. He was in a much favorable spot than the Alabama kid that went to the Panthers that got annihilated. I mean, that's it. It's a situation. He could get beat up so much he'll end up like, what's his name? What was that? David Carr.
Yeah.
He end up shell shot.
So let me ask you, Ultra, if you're talking about, was it the system? Because you're saying he didn't have any other guys who were drafted, top wide receiver. Was it the system he was playing in college? To our point,
they were a run. I mean, Big Ten, they run, pound the rock. I mean, that's the way they were. Very good defense. He didn't have the huge weapons that obviously like Ohio State, always puts out a lot of receivers. I mean, Michigan's always kind of that blue collar, ground and pound.
Oh.
I mean, McCarthy's good with his legs. He's good with his legs. He made plays where he needed to. But I mean, in the championship game, he was at like 50 yards passing.
50.
I mean, and again, they're running the ball. They want, whatever it was. I'm just saying, for me in the NFL today, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, and I hope I am. I don't want to see any of these guys be scrubs and bust. It's great quarterbacks make the NFL even better. So
yeah, especially we've said all along this is a 2 running back league, and you need that, but it's a passing league. And that's the way it is right now. But you still need your 2 running backs. You have to.
Yeah, you got to run the ball. You got to be able to. If you're going to win, you still got to pass it, right? I mean, Mahomes had a good running. The running game showed up late, but when it came down to win the game, it still was him. The ball was in his hands, and he went out and won the game. He didn't settle for a field goal. He went out and got a touchdown. Brady for the years, obviously all the Super Bowls he won.
I don't want to know about his Super Bowls. I got post-traumatic stress disorder.
They
from
said
that.
that he may. I don't know if I saw it. He may take a couple calls if his phone rings.
Really?
That's what I heard. I don't know.
That he's crazy. He's
Yeah.
crazy because I'm sorry, he was a shell of himself his final season. He didn't look good. I don't know. I think he's crazy if he does that.
Yeah.
If you really want to risk getting, he may end up hurt and hurt permanent.
He'll hurt you permanently, kid. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hey.
but yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting. But D'Amico Ryans, we're talking about the Texans getting a lot of flower, getting a lot of love. Early season, team that can compete maybe with the Chiefs. He came out and said all this. He goes, talk doesn't win games. So that's what I like about it's kind of that difference that you have when you can be in a market that's not as marquee as it can be about business. The Cowboys, it's always about the glam, right? It's always going to be about the show. Where I think get like Houston, but now we're still going to whoop Houston's ass when they come to AT&T. You better believe it. But I mean, it's kind of like when you see that, you do get a little jealous. I mean, for me, I do get a little jealous sometimes when I see these programs. It's all about football. It's all about football. That's everything that they want. And so anyway, WNBA draft's going on, Jim. I'm sorry.
Good. All right. Well, who was drafted first? We need to know. Is it the Caitlyn Jenner, whatever it is?
She better.
Caitlin Clark. What is it?
Caitlin Clark. Yeah, she was pretty damn good, man. I know she gets a lot of hate, and I think that just kind of goes with the territory when you're one of those teams. It's look at Bengals and Lions. Is that Ultra with the Bengals and Lions? See, I think the Lions are going to fall a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just got this feeling
after that disappointing. I mean, they had it. They had it in the palms of their hands.
I could be wrong. I think but no, that girl's pretty damn good, man. Did they already?
Good for her.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they did it. But did you watch any of that? Did she kind of intrigue you to watch the women's college? No, I tell you.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I saw it on social media, but I don't get caught up in college sports.
Yeah, you're not a big college, but just as a sports fan, I've never watched the second of women's NBA. I do watch a little bit of college. I like the finals, so I'll watch the Final Four, especially back in the day with UConn when they were winning all those. I'd watch it, but she made you want to watch, man. And I don't know why she gets the hate, because any visibility to the program and to the league is great, right? I mean,
that's what you want.
People interested to even go to a WNBA game or to watch it on TV. I mean, what the hell's wrong with that? They're making like $76,000 a year from what I saw. She can make $5 million doing the Ice Cube, the 3-on-3 challenge.
Right.
I'd be doing that shit.
That's where I'd be going. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it.
I'd be taking the payday like we were talking about before with the college players. Yeah, just stay in college and make your money. I'd be playing for O'Shea Jackson, a.k.a. Ice Cube. That's where I'd be playing. I'd be having O'Shea Jackson stroke my paychecks.
Yeah. Who the Fever? I don't even know who the Fever are. Do you know the Fever are? That's who picked her.
The Fever.
Indiana Fever.
Fever.
Oh, there you go. They're going to sell out. Especially
that's basketball country. That's no joke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
that's basketball
great.
country.
That's a great move for them, because they'll sell some tickets with her there.
You see, they gotta have smarts. Did you see with Bryce Harper? I don't know if you've been another thing. Baseball. So this year, I don't know if you've noticed. You've watched it all. I noticed it the first game of the season with the Yankees. I'm like, what the hell is up with that? Like, a few of the players looked like they had sweat stains coming through the unis and didn't look good. And then I started noticing other teams were having the same issues. So I guess it's really coming out now that Fanatics and Nike are making the uniforms now. Somebody over the weekend, like, I think they tore their crotch or some shit during a game, right? So it's just look it up and you'll see.
My son said that they changed the uniforms, and the players were hating them, and the fans hated them because of the design of their names on the back or whatever. So they did change the uniform. They used to be, was it Majestic for a long time?
It was Majestic, yeah. But it's the quality. It isn't just it's the quality of the outfits for these players making tens of millions, hundreds of millions, or even despite the gambling, Ohtani making billions of dollars a year. They the uniforms, the quality sucks. So Bryce Harper the other day, I think it was Saturday, he went out and he wore his old jersey from 2019. And I guess there's a big thing. He get fined for that, right?
I was gonna say that didn't go over well, I'm sure.
Well, they're trying to prove that he did. I mean, it looked pretty apparent to me that he wore the old jersey, but they're trying to prove that he did. I guess he can get dinged for like 25 grand, something like that, which is pocket change to Bryce Harper.
I'm just saying, hey, how about you make a quality product? I mean, right? Isn't that what Zelensky is? That what Tommy Boy make a quality product? Is what we're asking for. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to.
If I could buy your share. If I could buy your share, put a little coin in my pocket.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? Great movie, man.
So, hey, I'm just gonna say, just quick, man. Appreciate it's a slow NFL, Cowboys and all that stuff. So we're just mixing it up a little bit. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. We're just talking a little bit of variety of sports in life. I mean, that's what happens here. A variety of sports in life. And definitely, before I forget, I wanted to give a nice shout out to my man Cuts by Jones, who is actually did a custom cut for George Teague, who's going to be coming on the show next Wednesday. He did a custom cut for him, and George Teague retweeted it, loved it. And I mean, Cuts by Jones has been doing some badass stuff. You saw he got the U. Make sure I got my finger right there. He's got the U. He's got the nameplate. I know he did some work for you, Jimmy. So any of you guys who aren't following Cuts by Jones, make sure you guys check him out. And he can do any other team. He's the only team he doesn't do any cuts for is the Eagles. He will not do an Eagle logo, do Eagle that. I mean,
can't put your name to that. I mean,
no. I mean that's the agreement that we have. He can't be doing none of that. Otherwise, we got to cut ties. You got to draw the line somewhere.
And
go ahead, Jimmy.
That's it. That's where you draw the line. But he did also, like I said, my nameplate is at the office, and the beautiful thing that he did for my wife's birthday is upstairs. A thing of the family
over the fireplace,
right over the fire. Looks beautiful.
You got a focal light that's shining on it ever so nicely. You know what I mean?
Well, I think Cuts also he did. I forget who he did it for. Maybe Vinny, like a professional wrestling.
Did he do wrestling?
I'm fairly certain. I could be wrong. I'm fairly certain he did. It's been a long couple of weeks. I thought I saw that on X or Twitter or whatever it's called today.
I was watching. Speaking of wrestling, I don't know if you watched last night. They had on A&E. They were searching for all the old. They do old relics, memorabilia, and things like that.
Yeah,
and they were trying to find things of the WCW era, and NWO obviously being one of them. So they went to Scott Hall, his son, and they got the some of his trunks and his NWO, the blood drip in the black and white. They did that, and then they went to Kevin Nash, and they bought his get up from the Outsiders. Yeah. And then they wanted to get some other stuff. So it was an iconic tag team in WCW, one of the most iconic tag teams in WCW history.
Harlem Heat?
No, not Harlem
Nasty
Heat.
Boys?
No.
Who we talking?
Come on, man.
Sting and Luger were a team, Double A, and
one of the best tag teams in WCW. They were WCW all the way through.
Damn. How am I missing this right now? That's my heyday.
Well, you're gonna be mad when I tell you. Do I got to tell you? You
might have to tell me. I give up.
All right. They were brothers,
and not the Harlem Heat. They were brothers. Oh, Steiners.
Yes,
Steiner brothers. Thank you. Dog face gremlin. Woo, woo. Anyway,
so they went to his house. Man, it's just crazy when you watch these guys. The age, but he still looked pretty good, really nice. And they went through a lot of his gear, and then they called up Scott Steiner, who lives like a mile away. So they must live outside Atlanta somewhere. Yeah. And then Scott Steiner came. I say, man, it's amazing how when you get off like the juice and like you stop doing how you shrink. Yeah. Because like Scott Steiner, I mean, he's still a pretty big dude, but he's not, Big Papa Pump.
No. Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holler if you hear me. Remember all my freaks out there.
But the funny thing is they said early on he hated to do promos. He was terrible at it. And he would never talk. Like when they were the Steiner brothers, he would never talk. It would always be Rick Steiner.
Yes.
Would do the talking. And then even like as Rick said, he goes, all of a sudden, man, they came to us and they said, we're thinking about just breaking, maybe breaking you guys up and have him go to the NWO. And he's like, yeah, no, that's fine. Do whatever's best for the storyline or whatever. And they said all of a sudden, man, he came back the next day. His hair was dyed blonde and became a different person. And it was crazy. He got all into the character and the speaking. And I mean, his promos were some of the best.
Oh, they were funny. And I tell you, it was, first they called him, like for the first couple of weeks, it was stupid. They called White Lightning when he changed his hair over. And then, they just used his Big Papa Pump.
I don't even remember that White Lightning.
Yeah, because it lasted about 3 weeks and they realized it was stupid. And then it was this Big Papa Pump. And I think he actually named himself that in the course of a promo. Right. But that was, man, the days when we were watching every Monday night and then even Thursday nights when they put on was it Thunder, we were glued to the channel.
Yeah. I did the one promo, something where all you guys spending $40 at the gym, the pump a little iron, you know what I mean? It's just the way he did it, man. I just play that all the time.
Well, do you remember there's one where he did a shoot on Ric Flair during one of the interviews, and it was like he went off on him, and it was real.
Really?
Oh, he started ripping on him. You and your yellow teeth, all messed up. When are you going to go to the orthodontist? He just went off. Like, oh my god! And apparently they got an argument in the back afterwards. But if I'm Ric Flair, I'm thinking twice about stepping to Scott Steiner, right? Yeah. But they made it up through the amateur ranks.
Well, that's what they talked about. I was thinking of you because they said, now you made the leap from the amateur collegiate into professional. They're being serious about it. And he answered it serious. He didn't joke about it and say, hey, he said that helped his transition because he obviously, they had the get up with they did go to Michigan. They were Michigan All-Americans and he had the headgear and all of that. So yeah, it was good. It's on A&E. They replay it all the time. You check it out if you missed it.
I think that's where he might have mastered the reversed fireman's carry.
I was Hogan. Reverse, remember that?
Hogan, yep.
The reverse fireman's carry down at Port Tampa.
I remember. So Mike Tag was an amateur wrestler, and I remember he looked at me. What the hell is a reverse fireman's carry? I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, it was some funny stuff, but man, it was good times. But yeah, definitely. I mean, this is what you do, man. We got to wait for the draft. So obviously, just make sure if you guys are popping in now. Mondays we're live at 7 Eastern, so it's a little earlier. But you guys popping in now. I see a lot of people popping in the last 20 minutes or something. We're on every live at 7 o'clock. And it's a slow time. So this is what happens. Jimmy and I have known each other for what are we going on? 30 plus years?
Oh yeah. More than that. Yeah.
35,
35.
35 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So we get some life stories in the mix of sports. So this isn't, we didn't not a lot to talk about for football. So we get into some wrestling. We did a lot of the wrestling stuff back in the day and get into that. So make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share. If you're watching us on Instagram or you're watching us on Twitter, shoot on over to YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe, support the channel. That's the best way to support the channel. Don't cost you nothing. Not asking for a nickel. All we're asking you to do is hit that subscribe, hit that like if you're watching the video. Again, those are all free things. It doesn't cost you a goddamn nickel. You understand what I said? So, yeah. So you guys. So
if you lost all your money at the Hard Rock, it ain't going to cost you a dime to come watch us.
Exactly. We're free entertainment. You see what I'm saying? So you guys, and you jump on over to YouTube. We had some great interviews. We talked about, I'm telling you, I put the clip on today because it's too much gold not to do it. So all you got to do is go to YouTube and look up former Cowboy passes a drug test and just watch that. That'll be your entertainment for your life. It's amazing. You got these guys sticking to this stuff, concocting this scheme, and it actually worked. So make sure you guys check that out if you guys hadn't seen it. It's funny as hell. But we got Sherman Williams, former Cowboy, Super Bowl 30. He was a backup running back to Emmitt Smith. He was a national champion at Alabama, high school state champion. Not many guys win a championship on every level. He did. Talk about his life, bumps in the road, obviously hit some hard times, but he served his time, and now he's making good and turning something negative into positive. So he's doing a lot of stuff with kids. So definitely want to talk about his foundation and what he's doing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then next week is jam-packed because we got the draft. We're going to get Jimmy. We're going to do a mock draft with Jimmy. We're going to educate Jimmy. Okay. We might even bring in Mikey Schefter. He may come in, help out a little bit with a mock draft. We'll get that thing going. Then we got George Teague. Then Kelly and I, and Jimmy, hopefully if you're around on Thursday, we're going to do a live first-round draft show like we did last year. Just grab some beers, hang out. You guys can pop in and out. You guys can come on the show, just talk a little bit about the draft and kind of count down the picks. And then I think on Saturday, I'm going to be with Cowboys Can Fan on their show doing some draft stuff. So we're going to have a lot of fun, man. So got a lot of stuff going on. And then it's football shit all the rest of the way, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I know we got a little baseball or something.
We got to mix in some NBA playoffs, some NHL playoffs. I mean, speaking of it, the Dallas has the Stars, which is top 3 team in the league, and you have the Mavericks.
They got a shot to repeat? Do they got a shot to repeat?
What, the Mavs?
No, didn't the Stars win it last year?
No, the Stars won last. No, they went
to the finals.
They went to the conference finals. They lost to Vegas, who ended up beating Florida. But right. Yeah, so
they got a shot to get to the finals this year.
Oh yeah, they're one of the best teams in the league.
Dallas won a championship.
It's been a while. It's been, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it might have been. You know what? Somebody hit me up in the comments if you know, because honestly, it's been a minute, and they've had a good team. They have a goaltender, not top 10 or not top 5, but definitely top 10 goalie. He gets hot. You got a good team going there, but.
This shows you how much I know about hockey. I don't know nothing. Lightning, are they in contention?
Yes, the Lightning are in contention. Yeah, I mean, actually, what happens is in the East tonight is there's 4 teams that can end up in. It depends on who wins. There's 2 games left. Each team has 1 or 2 games left, depending on which team it is. That'll determine whether it's either the Islanders or the Penguins or Washington or one of there's 4 teams that can get the last spot in the East. But then on the flip side, you got the NBA Finals or the NBA playoffs, which. What do you have in the? What bothers me a little bit about the NBA playoffs is this play-in thing, because if you look at the East, you got 2 teams, both under 500. One is well under 500 in this play-in game, and it's like, yeah, come on. So you get a team that played like crap all year, and then they somehow just get hot at the right moment, and this is how they get rewarded. I don't like that play-in, but whatever.
I don't like the play-in. I don't even like the NFL. Adding the other playoff team. And it's not because that team beat our ass in the playoffs. They never would have been in it. But I don't like it. But throw every team in there. Throw every team in there.
It's like a participation trophy.
Yeah. Because but especially football's tough because you can get a team that gets hot. They can end up doing something. They're under 500 or whatever. But basketball, you got like 16 teams that got a shot to make the playoffs. Everybody. You got like 3 teams that don't have a shot to make the playoffs.
You have more than half the teams that make the playoffs, right? Hockey's pretty damn close. You got half the teams. Fans? Yeah, it's half the fans. Oh God, that was a good crank call.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I just looked, man. We're over an hour. I was telling my son we're talking about you, and we're talking about prank calls because he goes, Dad, you could still prank call the hotels if you want. I said, no, it's not that easy. I said, we used to prank call the hotels and yell at the people in the room, and then you call the front desk and you ask them to come up to the room because you need something, and then you didn't stick around to see what would happen. I said one of the proudest moments in Jimmy's life, and I said he might still have it framed somewhere, is when his mom got a letter from the phone company that maybe losing their phone because someone seemed to be making some
harassing phone calls. Yeah. So I walk in, I'm all happy. I walk in from school or whatever. My mom is, hey, there's a letter on the table. Oh boy, what happened? And I'm reading it. It's scary. And like Mike Tag said, they're threatening to shut the phone off because of harassing phone calls they trace back to this phone number, 57292, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I'm like, oh, it scared the hell out of me. Man, I got chewed out because she was always on me about the crank call. She knew what was going on. Did you hear me, screaming in the room at the people or yelling and carrying on. And So, but yeah, once I got caught, I had to lay low for a little bit. So,
but you kept it though. That was a moment. That was like a little personal memento.
Oh, it is. It is. And I use it for like, as part of my resumes. I included that. It's like a reference letter. Oh, that was the best, man.
That
was like
a fun time. Your kids, like nowadays, kids can't do anything. Like we go out of town, and we got cameras everywhere. I mean, when my parents went out of town, it was a party. The whole
Right.
the whole school was there. You know what I mean? My parents come in, looked like a hurricane went through the house. And shit, sometimes literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And,
yes.
You can't do that now. And now it's like your kids can't skip school because they got that Live 360 or whatever that Life
360. Yep.
So now you can't even do that. Where we used to go to Shoney's. I remember one time, my mom was dry. I either saw me or something. Either saw my car at the Shoney's parking lot or something happened. I ended up getting busted for that. That was the only way you got caught. That was,
right.
That was the only way you got caught. Now these kids, they can't do all that stuff. It sucks. I feel bad.
Everything is social media.
Well, I hear, and I'll say this, and I'll say it on record. My wife does, so the kids can blame her. I don't look unless there's an emergency. I never look at their Live 360. Never. And I don't look at the cameras during the day. Like if they're, I don't pay attention to it, So I mean, hopefully they're doing smart stuff. That's what I hope. I raised them right.
No,
gotta do some mischievous stuff.
That's where you hope they didn't end up like you did at that age.
Yeah.
Like us, not you, us. Right. Hey, so yeah, 1999. You know what? That was the infamous the replay thing against the Sabres. That's right, Fred. Or
that was probably
about that. Vince. Yeah.
That like the first couple years in Dallas?
Yes, that was
were they the Minnesota?
No, yeah, they reloaded from Minnesota back in like 95. But another time I walked in the door, Mom said, "Hey, I had left. Remember the Walkmans back in the days? Well, I had my Walkman on the table, and ironically, I had my Fat Joe cassette in there. My mom was, oh, let's see what Jimmy's listening to, right? Yeah, I got chirped for that one too.
Well, my brother our mom used his car to go to the store, and all of us had systems. So he had 12. Might have 15s in this car, 12s. I can't remember. And he had 2 Live Crew NASA the wannabe tape in the car. So got a lesson in that stuff.
you remember the time, speaking of cars, when one of our friends decided to leave his car door unlocked, and we decided, one of us, I'm not going to name who, decided to put a clam under the front seat of the car in the middle of summer.
I did hear about that. I wasn't
in the middle of summer. I don't know nothing about it. I heard about it, but apparently his car stunk for like 2 weeks because somebody had to pull a foolish prank like that.
Well, I'll give 2 car stories. I'll save yours for the end. So, and I've told before that my favorite car story is when I worked at Publix, a grocery store down here, and worked all with our friends. We all worked in the same, same grocery store, and we were leaving, and one of our friends was parked next to us, and my buddy was taking me home, so I was a guest, so I have to have his back. He backed up, and it sounded like a can opener. He was in this huge, like, big tank, and he just took the whole side of his car, and it kind of looked like an accordion. And then on the passenger, on the driver's side, he looks at me and goes, "Mike, did I hit it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you hit it." He's like, "What do I do?" I mean, if you want to leave, I said, "I don't know nothing, man. I get involved in this thing." And he laughed and he went, we dropped me off home. And one of our friends pulled up to my house, and he's like, "Mike," he goes, "Did you look at my car?" He couldn't even get out of the car. He had to climb through the passenger side. And he's like, "Did you see anything that happened?" He goes, "I know, someone's sitting right." I said, I didn't see anything. It wasn't like that when I walked by. And then the next thing you know, he goes to our buddy's house, and he caves in, and he tells him he did it. So then I look like, the POS because I said something. And then my Jimmy story of cars is he had this Daytona EF. I know it's a Daytona ES because he had Daytona put on the windshield, the front windshield, and he had ES added to it. So what just Daytona ES on the thing? You put your sign, and he got a nice paint job, beautiful paint job. Was it blue or red? What was the outer color?
The original color was red.
I don't know. What color did you get it painted?
Blue.
Blue. Beautiful blue. Not Dallas Cowboy blue. Might like a Nick blue. New York.
Yes,
Nick
it was Nick's blue. That's exactly
Nick's blue. Well, when you open the door up, it had the old color red, so it looked like Spider-Man. He was too cheap to get the door, and then when you did the headlights, the headlights red, like the trim around the headlights. He didn't want to pay the $75. What did about $75?
Hey man, it was an extra $75 out of my pocket. You only saw it when the car doors or the hood was open or the lights. See, I thought you were going to bring up, and honestly, I think our friend, one of the whales, was in for this one. We were driving home one night from Orlando to Fort Lauderdale. I don't really remember, but we were up partying in Orlando. We're going back to Lauderdale, and there's this long stretch. There's the Florida Turnpike, and it's like, the big highway in Florida, and parts of it are desolate, especially back in the day. So I don't really remember this part, but they're like, "Hey, we're getting low on gas," and I told them, "Just go. It'll be fine. You're all good." They're listening to the drunk guy instead of the thing that says empty. So I guess we
and you didn't have the alerts back then that told you how many miles you had till empty.
Right.
Let's just preface that.
Right. It was on empty, so you better go to the gas station. But they listen to the drunk guy. So all of a sudden they're hitting me in the back. Go get gas. And they hand me this empty. I don't know if you guys remember, there's a soda called Surge. It was like a knockoff 7-Up. We had thrown vodka in it, right? And drank the whole damn thing. So I'm walking, and I must have been walking an hour at least. I get to the gas station. Somehow, long story short, we end up getting gassed up. It wasted a whole hour. I was walking on the side of this desolate highway at 3:00 in the morning. I don't know how I didn't get killed or hacked up.
They left you to do that. They left by yourself at 2 a.m, walking on a highway all by yourself to go get gas.
Yeah. And you know what? Inebriated with no cell phone.
Yeah, no cell phone, not even a beeper, right? Did you even have a beeper with you or something?
I didn't have a beeper. No. Jimmy Dee coming down the highway to get the gas while he's drunk. Yeah, it was something
that
else.
was just a different era. That's what I say. It's like these kids, I don't want to sound like a boomer, but it was just such a different time. You could get away. You could do so many different things. We could talk for days on all the stupid crap we did as kids. And we lived. We survived. We become productive members of society. None of us are in jail. None of us have been in jail. We're all doing okay. And I think there's a learning to that. And I think sometimes the generation today, everything is so now. Everything is like, and that was Cuts knows. He's in our age bracket. You had the beeper with the chain.
Yeah.
You got the chain and hooked up to your, to your jeans or your pants, and man, you'd fight to go find that sports team. I get the Cowboys beeper. I thought it was big time, man. That's what I thought it was.
Well, and then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, then you figured out. Remember on the beepers, you figured out how to write the coded messages to everybody. Yeah. Remember? Right? Yeah. Yeah, we actually. Well, I did anyway. I think you may have a couple of times. We had somebody who was well versed in getting beepers at a deep discount. Whenever we lost ours or ours got stolen.
Yeah. We got a good price on it. Good price.
Good deal.
But those guys now, it's just like the kids now, they don't have that because you're tracked everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. You have no privacy, no chance to do that kind of stuff. So I feel bad for these kids nowadays because they don't have the ability to live those life years. But then the ones that do, it goes to the too extreme with the drugs that are ran with fentanyl and all that you almost can't because you could be dead. Like we did some stupid stuff that today you could have been dead. I mean, some of the choices that we made, but you were able to make it. So I'd say it's just different times, but it makes for a hell of a story. It makes for great stories and good memories. So I always say that the 90s was the best decade, man, by far to me.
Yeah, it was because it was just technology advanced enough where we can have fun, but we didn't have all this crap plastered all over the place, right? Yeah. I mean, nowadays, and now I am sounding old, right? You say something, And all of a sudden, it's something I never talked about before is popping up in my social media feed, or on whatever the advertising that I roll up on, right?
Yep.
No,
it is. Sneaking the parents' car out. We were talking about this, and it was because kids today, they'd be embarrassed. We used to, if we didn't have a car, we'd get up early in the morning and we'd take our mom to work. And if we took her to work, we'd pick her up, but be able to do that. That way we could have the van. We had a little minivan, and our mom would let us have the minivan for the day so we can go out and have some fun. But we had to pick her up at the end of the day. So we used to have to get up at, she had to leave at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning to go to work. But we'd get our asses up. Now it's like, my nephew, he'll sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He ain't getting up early. You got to get up early to go get a car. You know what I'm saying?
It cuts. There was one time at a party at Tag's house that there was somebody parked in the driveway, and I'm not going to get into the whole story, but long story short, we all picked the car up, literally picked the car up and moved it. The next street over, was it?
Moved it.
Yeah,
I didn't know where their car was.
Right, I didn't know where their car was. There was maybe 10 of us lifted this damn thing up. That was funny.
No, it was good times. It was good time. Well, I better get rolling. I got below deck, but hey, I got below deck. But hey, we had a great time. What a fun show! And make sure you guys, again, if you're tuning in, get over to YouTube, man. Just hit that subscribe, support the channel. But more importantly, there's so many great shows, so many great interviews that we did, and we got a lot more coming. So make sure you guys check it out. And there's a rumor flying around that the Cowboys Cave might be doing a little road show into San Antonio. I mean, I don't know, that's just a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not, but there may be a surprise appearance at someone's bar. Do a little road show. So if we can work out the logistics, we may be doing something like that. So anyway, make sure you guys do that. Yeah. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys also tune in Thursday live show. May pop in some stuff. Hit your alerts, because every now and then I may jump in the morning and give a little take on how I feel. Jimmy may pop in, and Kelly, somebody may be doing that. So make sure you guys check that out. But appreciate it, and we will see you guys. Thanks, everyone, for hanging with us, man. Have a good time.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need